So I decided to call this new period of the brand artisanal because I wanted to value handcraft work and kind of like go back a little bit to a few of the techniques that have been used in fashion and that kind of lost its way through time. The thing is that I think the society of consumerism kind of like shaded a little bit the possibilities that we have, like on doing garments. For example, if you take a look back at the collection and you see all the hand crochet and the work on stencil for the prints, and also like the hand marbling. So those are techniques that are a little bit ancient, but that have lost a little bit its power because it's hard to industrialize and it takes a lot of time. And I think by sacrificing those kind of like techniques, we lost a little bit the possibilities of embellishing a garment. And that's, for me, it's the most important thing about this reboot in terms of design. Of course, there's a lot of like questions that come alongside the project that are more political or are going to address some issues of the contemporary society. But if I talk only about design, that's the most important for me, and that's why I decided to call it artisanal. Of course, with no pretentious, I'm not doing couture, and that's it's just that like I want to work with small artisans and young designers and collaborate as much as I can. And also I do believe that the recycling is very important. So all the materials that we are using, or even like the customizing, is through dead stocks or recycled pieces. And I decided to give this reboot of the brand because I do believe in my project. I always believed in engineer, and I didn't want it to fade away, but I needed to find different ways to work, because the system of fashion is not adept for young designers, and so it took me a long time to understand how could I make everything work together, and that's the result. Like it's a lot of collaborations, it's a lot of handwork, it's a lot of recycling, and I am gonna address some political questions, because I think fashion as a way of expressing art and like our voice. I feel responsible, and I think the younger generation is responsible actually to make fashion engaged and adapt to the times that we are living. So what motivated me to take a step back is that H&E had a very rough 2019 year. I have already decided, and the brand didn't disappear through this year that I did no collection. I was just thinking of how I would rearrange things, and already after our last show in March 2019, I had decided inside my head that I would do things slower. So it was just not announced yet, and because I didn't know how to do it. And what motivated me to take these reflections and this step back is that because of this very rough year, and H&E is a fully independent brand, we have no help from institutions or any kind of investors. I felt the system was a little bit sick and a little bit of the possibilities for independent designers, and especially when they are on the beginning of their career. And then I said to myself that the way of doing it was respecting the cadence of my creativity, and like not forcing myself to do 4 seasons a year. And also I realized that I had no relation whatsoever with my clients, because everything was working through wholesale, and then every time I was trying to get a subvention or like an institutional support, I was facing like obstacles of every kind of like, well, you need to have this, you need to have this amount of money, and or you need to rent a space that like is in this place. It doesn't fit actually, and then we end up doing these sacrifices for so long, and that ends up also jeopardizing our creativity and our passion. And like, I love what I do so much, and I believe so much on my project that I think people can wait. Like we don't need to be all the time putting something new, because at some point it's not going to be good enough. If it's done on a rush, and if it's done not with the sincerity that it needs to be, it makes no sense. And I think that the moment is good because we have lived this dystopian times, like during lockdown and during the pandemics, and it's also when I realized how good my work is to myself, to my mental health, and like and for me to express myself to the world outside me. You know, like I don't have the brand doesn't have, I don't know, like millions of followers, but I reach a certain kind of people and like and my community, and I didn't want to lose that. So that was the right time for me, because I realized simply that I love what I do. So I have a long experience on working on design studios, because I had worked for big brands before for many years. I still do now. So I always had this idea of teamwork. I always knew that a collection was not built alone, even though you have a creative director that is going to guide you. This sense of like teamwork has always been very present in my professional life. And I think that the way I could transfer this to my brand was working through collaborations. And when I say collaborations, I mean like deep exchange collaborations. Like every designer that is featured in this in this collection was really guided through deep conversations and designing together. It was a really hand-to-hand work, and the brands that were chosen, of course, like firstly they are there because they are part of my environment, they are people that surrounds me, and but more than that and other than that, they are also brands that have the same value as I do, that are also there to criticize a little bit the consumerism society that we live in, and they're there also to work on recycling, and they're also there questioning gender. So it's not that they had things that Nature didn't have, but like we had so many things in common that for me it made sense to collaborate with them and to exchange. And it's so beautiful to see that like many creative minds work better than one alone, and it's so, there's so many bits of everyone involved in this project that I feel very happy that it's actually possible if you do it with your heart. The results are very satisfying personally. I cannot say if everyone liked the collection or not, but that's also the point, because we actually did it for ourselves and for the community that we all live in. So we knew that it was going to be sensible for them because it was sensible for us. Well, I think the seasonalities are a system that were imposed again by the capitalism and the consumerism society, because it's something that was requested through wholesale and retail for us to be able to sell more and more and more and more. and always have something new to propose to the client, but I don't think that is relevant anymore. I think it's much more important to put out in the world something that is meaningful for you and that can last long. I think the economic crisis are gonna teach us a lot about that too. We are gonna think many times before purchasing enormous quantities of things, and I think I don't believe that the industry is going to be shaped that quickly. I think the big institutions and the big brands are still gonna follow up the system as it is, and they're gonna fight for it to stay the way it is. Because, and I don't judge it, because that's the way they do their fashion. What I think it's important is that us as a new generation, we propose something different, we do something different, because then in the future we can know an industry that is shaped differently and more adapted to the new people that are coming in. You know, like fashion is a circle. They're all getting in and out, and even like if you take big brands like Gucci, for example, and Alessandro being fairly new at the position, he's also like on this perspective of like reshaping the industry and the way we consume. And I think it's important for us to reflect on that and see what and how we can do to propose something that is different, and without having to criticize the choice of the others. I think this should be a personal choice of every independent designer, because some of them they actually feel comfortable dropping 4 collections a year. So good for them, do it. And that's why I didn't impose myself any kind of limits too. When I did my manifesto like 10 days ago, I said that I would present once a year, maybe twice, I don't know. I just want to respect my own creativity and my own wish of delivering something new, and also to be able, and when you do this and then you end up, let's say that in 1 year I will want to do 3 collections a year, and then I will have to deal with the fact of like unsold garments. And that's why also I'm doing the choice of only doing limited editions, and most of the pieces that I'm proposing are on demand, because then I can avoid producing things that are not going to be sold, and because we don't need that. Like it's harmful for the environment. It ends up nowhere. It takes places. We need to reinvent ourselves, and I think this is going to be through new designers and younger brands. I think my first objective to achieve with this new chapter of an engineer is not sacrifice my personal life for my work. It's the very first one, because that's what made 2019 such a difficult year for an engineer, because I was extremely tired of all the sacrifices I have done for my work. And then I think to teach my community how to look at fashion in a different perspective, to consume in a different way, and to understand the power that was given to us of like reaching people. It's such a good tool to communicate what you believe in, and so that stays as my second objective. And the third, but not least, I want to have a closer relationship with my clients. So I hope that this e-commerce will help me develop a closer relationship with the people that buy me and that believe in what I do, and that can be an exchange, and that can help me to evolve always the collections towards to something that is more and more relevant to the people that are consuming it, always though staying on the way that I also believe myself. So that's it. Thank you.